This is a true story. It took place in a primitive corner of the world.
My Uncle Bosie was a hell of an athlete, they tell me, when he was a kid. And he became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones. And he got shot down in New Guinea.
One by one, they fell. And now he was alone.
There are a lot of cannibals, for real, in that part of New Guinea.
Trapped in a hell of Stone Age creatures.
In New Guinea. And they never found the body because there used to be a lot of cannibals, for real.
Perversion and sudden death were the way of life.
For real.
Okay, folks, so, yeah, this happened yesterday, I think, but, yeah, Biden is telling stories about cannibals. I'm sure you've seen it floating around if you've at all been on social media or are aware of what's going on. If you're watching legacy media, they will have scrubbed this like mad, so you won't see them talk about it. Maybe Fox will. Anyway, let's get right to brass tacks. Biden tells steelworkers his eaten by cannibals story again, of course. So here we are. The guy is fabled, legendary, for having driven 18-wheelers across the states for years, for having marched with Martin Luther King in various civil rights protests back in the day, in the 60s. He has been everywhere. I think he climbed Mount Everest, went to Nepal. He was the king of, like, Rangoon at one time. This guy's done it all, right? And he looks like it. Look at that. That is the face. Ugh. That's the face, the crotchety old groin face of experience, right? So as it says here, President Joe Biden, I'll just call him Joe Biden, he lies so much that even the New York Times thought they had to cover it, although they just named him storyteller-in-chief and said that he spun yarns that didn't always pan out. Biden was campaigning in Pennsylvania Wednesday and once again revived the debunked hit piece in The Atlantic that claimed President Donald Trump refused to visit the graves of fallen service members because they were suckers and losers. Sure, we believe you. Dozens of people who were there refuted the story, but Biden keeps telling it anyway. Per his hallmark, why did this come up? Because it reminded Biden of the time his Uncle Bosie was shot down over New Guinea. They found the plane, but they never found his body, most likely because the area was populated by cannibals who ate him. So we saw the vid. Yeah, his apparently shot down, and before recounting the debunked suckers and losers hoax for the second time in less than a day. So that's straight up lies. Both of those are straight up lies. He told the story on his way from his, his Puerto Rican hometown of Scranton. That's right. He's big Puerto Rican now. Oh, he's also Greek Orthodox, by the way. Whatever group of people he mixes in with, he starts to go, I'm one of you. I grew up with you. Remember that Puerto Rican pool where I was a lifeguard over you, all you guys? And then I bet in that story, if he's talking to Puerto Ricans, he'll start telling everybody that Corn Pop was Puerto Rican too. So he's whatever animal the environment demands, right? So at this point, but overall, he's a lizard guy and a skinwalker, right? He told the story on his way from his Puerto Rican hometown of Scranton, where he drew a huge crowd to Pittsburgh to meet with United Steelworkers who also got to hear the story. Oh, my land. Okay, so he is not well.
Back at
no.
D-Day occurred. And on Sunday, the next day, my mother's 4 brothers all went down to the recruiting station and joined the military. Every one of them volunteered. And my uncle, they call him Ambrose, they call him Bosie. My Uncle Bosie was a hell of an athlete, they tell me, when he was a kid.
Okay, let's just move on. Seriously, I can barely handle this guy. You get the point, though. He is not well. Okay, that's 23 seconds, and already I'm like, okay. So here's the thing, though. Look in the background. Look at these people. These paid people to do this, or they're part of the union. Of course, they're part of the union. And so the union said, you better effing get up there and hold this damn sign up, or your job's on the line. And there's definitely these people were blackmailed, except this one. She's buttering it up. She's like, oh, I love it. I love it. Destroy this nation, please. I am the admin assistant. This is what I do to people's lives in general every day. So, yeah, she's loving it, but everybody else is like, oh man. Anyway, so Greg Price says, you got to love how one reporter claimed from anonymous sources that Trump called them suckers and losers. Every witness in the story said it wasn't true, but now they treat it as fact. Oh, also, he claimed that D-Day was on a Sunday. It was on a Tuesday. Gosh, even the toadies and his posse, they don't even help him anymore. They're just like, we don't care about facts. We're not even going to write them in. The public, we're just going to throw it in there. We don't care what the public thinks of us anymore. We're too powerful for them to do anything, right? If we remember correctly, about 22 people who were present went on record to deny the suckers and losers story. But back to this business of cannibals. So here we go. Let's dive into this just a tad more and see what fun sprinkles of joy there are in this story. Unsurprisingly, Biden has made up most of this war story. Now, I'm surprised he didn't throw a bow in there either. Or say that... one time we had a kitchen fire. Remember he did that in Maui to the people who lost all their children in fires? Yeah. Yeah, he's, there we are. Lieutenant Ambrose Finnegan was a ground crew member and ordnance officer, not a reconnaissance pilot. So he's a ground crew member and an ordnance officer. Finnegan was the passenger of an A-20, a twin engine, not a single engine plane that ditched. It wasn't shot down. Remember, if you haven't attained, like his posse, the people who surround him, if you have gone in there and you have not gained your position based on merit, you don't care about details. You don't care about these details, and you're not going to tell the president. So it was ditched. This plane was ditched. It was not shot down. The flight went down over the Bismarck Sea, not in an area where there were a lot of cannibals. Now, people have done their research. It's real simple. So Finnegan brothers land in Australia with U.S. Air Corps. So, yes. Okay, so there is truth to this part of it. But the whole cannibal thing is a bunch of BS. Are attached to a Flying Fortress ground crew. Second Lieutenant Ambrose J. Finnegan. Okay, so there's unaccounted for. And what's here? There it is right there. And apparently that's the area where they ditched the plane. It wasn't shot down anyway. So just before he said the above, Biden claimed that his four uncles all enlisted the day after D-Day, which is also false. D-Day was June 6, 1944. Military records show Ambrose Finnegan enlisted on January 21st, 1941. Finnegan went missing on May 14th, 1944. So there it is. D-Day occurred. Oh, here's here's Joe Biden. And when D-Day occurred the next day on Monday, all four of my mother's brothers went down there and volunteered to join the military. Three of them made it. One was 4F, couldn't go. Okay. But again, May 14th. Okay, we saw that. Ambrose Finnegan, come on. Okay, this is Residence 32, Wilkes Barre, Pennsylvania. Date of enlistment day 21. Enlistment month January. Enlistment year 1942. So that whole BS about the next day, I don't know. They certainly didn't enlist that next day. So you get the point. More lies. Or something where something did happen and then he weaves in a whole bunch of lies afterwards. Like, yeah, these are his uncles or one of them was. Okay. But then he weaves in this whole other story, especially, well, of course, the highlight of this video, the cannibal stuff. The flight went down over the Bismarck Sea, not in an area where there were a lot of cannibals. Yeah, from the military records related to Ambrose Biden's death, Subject plane became lost and was forced to make a crash landing due to lack of fuel. Second Lieutenant Ambrose was a passenger on an A-20 on a courier mission. So delivering mail, right? Is that what that is? So he's told this story 3 times in 24 hours. This is his campaign. Let's see, D-Day was June 6, 1944. He says his uncles joined military on D-Day or the day after, I think. That's not true. Ambrose died on May 14th, 1944. Ambrose was not a pilot and was not shot down. He was a courier, a passenger on an A-20 bomber that was ditched at sea with engine troubles. Where are Glenn Kessler and Daniel Dale to fact-check the president? Oh, yeah. Get ready to look for anything by the AP or Reuters to play interference for Biden, right? And so JWF says, can't defend his record, so a nonstop stream of lies should suffice. That's right. When you've been in office doing politics for 50 years, he has the worst record. This is why he was installed as president, because he is one of the most compromised politicians of all time. And so the deep state tapped him and went, bingo, this is our guy. He's easily compromised. There's so much blackmail on him, we can make him do whatever we want. And that's what they did. So they installed him as the president. Can't defend his record, so nonstop lies should suffice. That's pretty much it. Ambrose, a passenger on a bomber and plane. He was not a pilot, we get that. Ugly frickin' liar about everything. It's a stutter, bigots. This is the best he can do without note cards or a teleprompter. Well, yeah. His whole life is built. I bet if he talked about Xbox too, because I know when he first became or was installed as president, I remember him talking about playing Xbox with his grandkids or something. Hey, that's fine. But I bet you $1 million he could talk about Minecraft for a while or something. This is the best he can do without a teleprompter. His whole life is built on lies and hoaxes. The press did its job in 1988 calling out these lies, but have since realized the truth is stopping Democrats from making progress. So we have a king with no clothes scenario. Indeed it is. That emperor with no clothes, my gosh, we're here. If Biden doesn't happen to have a story to fit a situation, he's not unopposed to just making it up when ends up being a battle between his serial lying and what he can remember, and then he fills in the rest, mostly with ice cream. The man has lied repeatedly about his son dying in Iraq. Yes, and his son, Beau, did not die in Iraq. Remember, Biden was thrown out of the 1988 presidential race for excessive lying. He's no different today. It's just the standards have lowered even lower, which at the time I would have been surprised. I'm like, you can go lower than this? And they have. Democrats have gone to the lowest they can. Now they are the EG Communist Party. So his grandfather, the one Ambrose Finnegan who died in 1957 in Scranton, Joe can say anything that he wants because 90% of the media will edit his words to cover for him, and 60% of the public will not know that they are being lied to. Yeah, that's for sure. There's people who go home and, I don't know if it's older people now. I think it is still older people because they're not quite as much on social media. They still love the 24-hour CNN garbage, MSNBC. So they just stick a hose and right up to their mouth. They attach it when they get home, and then just CNN just pours in down their gullet like liquid plumber. It's poison. They'll fix it in the transcript. And my gosh, thank heavens for AI because they can use a lot of AI to fix Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden is he's a machine that's busted. I mean, seriously busted. Like 10% of it works, 90% of the machine is rust and bolts. And so they have to do some real gymnastics to make him look good in the media. Joe Biden releases new line of action figures. Oh, this is funny. Okay, here it is. Oh, that's awesome. Uncle Bozy. Oh, that's funny. Dolly's Oh Cannibal. That's as much credibility as this story has. It's just like plastic and some material put in a box and up at a toy store. That is exactly where we are right now with the presidency. If this doesn't encapsulate Joe Biden's brain right now, I don't know what does. This encapsulates his brain, and then ice cream, and then probably like little kids. That's the unfortunate part, is we got a pedo POTUS right now. Inspiring story. I can feel the enthusiasm building. What's the point again? The suckers and losers quote never happened. President Donald Trump canceled a planned visit to the cemetery for Americans killed in World War I, the White House said, citing bad weather that grounded his helicopters. Trump had been scheduled to lay a wreath. I think that's what was going on. I remember that. Not so much for this. Okay. He had been scheduled to lay a wreath and observe a moment of silence Saturday at the Marne American Cemetery and Memorial, located adjacent to Belleau Wood and about 60 miles northeast of Paris. Okay, we get it. So anyway, yeah, so that's the thing. So they lied about that too. The determination to ground Marine One, the president's helicopter, due to bad weather is made by the Marine Corps and the White House Military Office, which then presents the recommendation to the White House in collaboration with Secret Service. So yeah, that's the true story. Okay. I'm not making that up. No, you're repeating a long ago debunked lie. So remember, when Joe says, I'm not making that up, or he says, for real, man, that's a flag that means he's lying. He's telling you he's lying. For real, man, I'm not making it up. No joke. That means he's a straight up lie. He's not even weaving any truth into it. It's just straight up lie. Exactly. Robert Skelzo. I'm not making that up means that he's making that up. Anytime Biden says no joke or you think I'm kidding, he's lying. Oh, and since Biden was in Pittsburgh, he claimed to be himself be Pittsburgh.
I'm Pittsburgh, and I really mean it.
Okay, so fine. And that's a lie too. He's not Pittsburgh. He's in Pittsburgh. He's not. So you see there? I really mean it. And he's got one joke that he tells if reporters are lambasting him or pestering him, which is don't jump. It doesn't always work because sometimes the reporters will be talking about some tragedy and they'll go, what do you think about the tragedy in the Middle East? And he'll go, don't jump. And he'll laugh. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't always work because there have been times when they've said things about dead people and you'd be like, don't jump. So he doesn't care. Like this is not, remember at this point, this is a husk of a human who's has his face pulled taut and his ears pinned back because he used to have earlobes, I think. And stuff like that. Although his mullet, he's always liked to keep that signature mullet. So he shows, I'm the working man of Scranton. No, you're the Puerto Rican, right? Isn't that what you mean? So I don't know. We'll see what stories Joe comes up with next, but I'm sure there's some major compilations out there of all his stories. They're probably hours and hours long. I tell you, when this guy passes on to the beautiful next world, for him, I don't know, we will have a marathon. I'm sure we will have a marathon, a 24-hour marathon of all Biden's stories and gaffes just in the past 3 years. Okay, not even his lifetime. So anyway, let me know what you think, folks. I think cannibals, yes, they are real. Joe's relatives were in the war. Were they eaten by cannibals? No, I don't think so. But anyway, the fun never continues, right? It never stops, right? It always continues, unfortunately. So anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Please put a like on the video if you like it. And please subscribe if you haven't and put any comments below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.